Good morning. You're in the loop. Every week we talk with the people who make San Antonio a better place to live. Thanks for joining us in the loop. Here's your host, Milton Glick.
And welcome to In the Loop. I'm Milton Glick, and that's exactly what we do. We get you caught up with the people that are making San Antonio a better place to live. I'm excited because along with you, I'm going to learn some stuff about the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. And our guest today is Marsha Hoskins. She is the branch chief of the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program support. Marsha, do me a favor. I'm butchering the name. You give me the name.
Of Marsha Hoskins.
No.
Branch chief.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yep, I'm the branch chief for Warrior Care Support for the Air Force's Wounded Warrior Program.
There you go. Perfect. Okay, I should have thrown it right to you. Let's talk a little bit about the program. You've mentioned you've been with the program for a while, and you were there kind of at the beginning. You've mentioned that, well, give the history and talk about the congressional mandate, too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, I'm a proud veteran, served 22 years in the Air Force, and feel like it's an honor that I get to continue serving our greatest department of the Air Force, taking care of our seriously wounded, ill and injured airmen and guardians. So back in 2008, we were at the height of the war, returning service members home from Iraq and Afghanistan. And what we realized is we didn't want to repeat what happened in Vietnam. We wanted to have transition programs that help them, hopefully get them back to duty, right? Because America's invested a lot of money to train our service members. But if we couldn't get them returned to duty to continue in the fight, we wanted to help them transition to the VA and make sure that there was a warm handoff and that we didn't have, the veterans' homelessness that we still face today. But I know through programs like this, we've helped so many. So our program for the Air Force really started getting its legs and foundation under it in 2012. And that's when we became the Warrior Care Division. So what we did in the Air Force, we looked at everything that takes care of airmen, and we put it under one umbrella right here in San Antonio under the Air Force's Personnel Center. And so what we can do is from the point of injury or illness, we're taking care of airmen from the time that we get notified, and we're sending families bedside, making sure that they're there with their loved ones. And then we start focusing in on what are those goals to get that person returned to duty. And we work individually with them. We're a personalized program, congressionally mandated. And, I tell people all the time that sometimes we're the greatest kept secret because you don't want to be enrolled in this program, right? Like you want to make sure that those things don't happen. But let's face it, whether you're wounded in combat, a training exercise, or, you wake up one day and things are different and you're suffering from a debilitating illness. We know that people are serving face those same things just as our, people who pay for our paychecks and, pay for our military out there. So we have these programs really focused in on those goals.
Talk a little bit, too, if you will, about kind of what these men and women that enroll in the program are going through prior to getting in the program. You mentioned, so I'm guessing it's physical injury. Is it mental injury too? Psychological, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. What we know, we've been doing this for a while, and what we see is those long-term effects that those back-to-back deployments often can have. Many of our people, deploy 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And sometimes their experiences catch up to them later. And a lot of times, too, even those with the physical injuries, they're so focused on getting better physically that the mental piece kind of takes the backseat ride until they get through the physical. Then they have to start working on that mental aspect of that recovery journey.
That's interesting. And we've talked to other programs in the past too, and talked to them about the idea that sometimes it's difficult for these men and women, if they've been in the military, to ask for help. It is not in their nature. Do you have the same kind of challenge?
Oh, yes. I mean, we are trying to make it okay to say, that you can take time to get help. We use an analogy, we deploy, we come home, the aircraft goes in for maintenance, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. I like this.
But what about the people? Like, you need that time too. And then sometimes just a safe space where you can just really share what you're going through with others who are going through similar things. So at these events like we're going to have over the next 2 weeks, I tell you what, the magic in it is the connectedness that happens.
Well, let's do this. So you make the segue easy. Let's talk about the events that are going to happen in the next couple of weeks that you guys are doing. And tell me, too, if the public can participate, watch, whatever.
Okay, yes, absolutely. So I'm sure the public has heard about Warrior Games, most importantly, probably Invictus Games. Well, those journeys all start at events like we're going to have here starting next week, and that is the Air Force and the Marine Corps Trials. So Adaptive Sports is a program that is offered as part of all recovering service members' journey across all the services. And so we introduce them to sports as part of the recovery. And whether it's a physical journey or the mental health journey, sports heals. We know that. We see that, right? Like America loves sports. Well, these sports even the playing field. So everybody coming is going through something. And there's not just the invisible mental journey. There's invisible physical, right? There's a lot of things that people are experiencing. You can't see it. But we take 11 sports. We modify them to meet each person where they are. And then every person is put in a classification based on their abilities, and they roll into a competition. And so really that's what we're going to be doing here over the next 2 weeks. And we have a group of caregivers coming that are going to support their warriors. That's what their warriors coming to compete. And at the end of this, the Air Force and the Marine Corps will select their Warrior Games team that will go forward and compete in the Department of Defense Warrior Games in July out in Colorado. Now, I'm not sure if everybody's tracking, but I've heard it on a few radio shows. DoD Warrior Games is coming to San Antonio for the first time in June of 2026. So it really
very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. We'll talk about you talked a little bit, Marsha, about the impact. What is the impact? Obviously, everybody who's listening understands if you can go and compete. They probably understand the competition part and going to Denver and all that and competing at a higher level. But just the competing, I'm guessing, has an impact. Is that fair? Yeah.
So imagine that. I'll give a couple examples, right?
Perfect.
So you were in a training accident and you're in a wheelchair, okay? You are going to, your entire life changed, and you're probably maybe focused on all the things you couldn't do. Well, these sports show you all the things you can do. You're just going to do it a little differently. We have everything from wheelchair rugby to wheelchair basketball, sitting volleyball. Why? Because we level the playing field for everyone. Archery, you may have an upper arm impairment, and you may now be shooting archery through your teeth. You thought you couldn't run again because you have a debilitating illness. We're going to put you in a track chair, and you're going to zoom again around that track, feel the wind in your hair. Powerlifting. There's such power behind sports, and just focusing on what you can do. And for everybody here, we just tell them to come and get their very best. They're in competition with themselves. Get your best, right? See what you can do, build off of that. And then once they get selected from here, we build on that training platform and get them ready for the Warrior Games.
Very cool. Our guest today is Marsha I keep wanting to put a P in there. Marsha Hoskins. She is the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program Support Branch Chief here in San Antonio. Well, I guess the whole program is here in San Antonio. It's based out of San Antonio, right, Marsha?
Yeah, correct. Our headquarters is right here at Joint Base Randolph.
If folks want more information, we're going to keep talking, but if folks want more information, what's the best way to get it? Or if they want to read about all the different programs, where do they go?
Hey, go to our website, woundedwarrior.af.mil, or look for us on Facebook.
Yeah.
We have posts every day. You can follow what is going on. You can follow our journey, our warrior's journey. We highlight a warrior every week with inspiring stories of how you get through the tough times.
Very, very cool. All right, well, let's keep talking. So we talked about that event. It's coming up. Is there a way for the public to participate or to watch or to be inspired by the trials that are going to happen?
For all of our events, are going to be here on Joint Base Randolph.
Okay.
If you want to come out and participate, you can stop at the visitor's gate and get a pass to come on base and check us out, be part of it. If you can't, you can tune in virtually. Our social media will be flooded with highlights of the day. We have an opening ceremony scheduled for 14 March at 0900 hours right here on the flight line at Joint Base Randolph, and that's a great opportunity to just come out and say, we support you. If you happen to be out on the highway that morning, we're going to be led in by the men and women in blue from across a couple of the precincts. So you may see the flashing lights. They're going to bring them in and just really welcome them into San Antonio and into Joint Base Randolph.
Very, very cool. This sounds absolutely wonderful. All right, so what other programs do you want to focus on too? Because you mentioned caregivers. We've talked in the past. Well, let's do that. Talk a little bit about how the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program helps with caregivers and helps them get through this.
Absolutely. So I will tell you, the caregiver journey is so important because overnight, their life changes too. And for the caregivers that come, those are the ones who said, you know what, I'm going to be by your side. I'm here with you. I'm going to help you get through this. And we have, of course, husbands and wives, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters. When life changes for you, who's that person that's going to stand by your side and help you get through it? And so for those caregivers coming, they've been defined because they're providing, we call it assistance with activities of daily living, ADLs, right? And we bring them in and we connect them with one another. We focus on them. We call it me time because for a while probably they haven't been able to focus on themselves. But that's very, very important to sustain that caregiver role. And then we give them some tools, some resilience tools that it's okay to take care of yourself. We help educate them on the process that their loved one is going through and what that's going to entail, and help them work on their goals and establish goals. And then again, just make sure they know they're not alone.
Let's do this again, Marsha, real quick. I'm going to ask about the other programs that are part of the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program, but you mentioned that it's so important for people to understand the mission. That it's. I'd like you to kind of give that mission again.
Yeah. So our mission is to provide personalized care and services for our seriously wounded, ill, and injured service members, their caregivers, and their families. We invest a lot of money to train service members to serve. And when something happens, we want to make sure we provide that personalized approach to get them back to duty. If we can't do that, then we want to make sure that we're providing them the support and services to transition to the VA and make sure that they get their entitlements and benefits that they've earned through their service.
There you go. What kind of feedback? Oh, no, let's switch. What other programs do you want to highlight that you guys do?
So, one of the things we've learned over the years is that there's definitely healing in other ways other than sports, right? So healing through music, right? We all remember when you're a kid, everybody just dances. You don't have any fears about that. We partner with a group called Rock to Recovery. And what they do is they focus on the healing through music. And for every event that we have, people get the opportunity to work with this group of, we call them rad musicians, and they write lyrics about their journey and they turn it into music. And so we have a whole history of music. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing some, oh my gosh, laughter's the best medicine. And so we have some combat veterans who we work with, and they come in and they help heal through comedy. We also have improv. We have art. We have, just those different resilience programs that focus more on social resilience. It brings people together in a different way other than sport, where they can focus on themselves, some mindset shifts. We all go through something, right?
Yeah.
But what are you going to do with it is the real thing. And then showcase what that can look like on the other side once you use these programs to heal.
Very, very cool. talk to, if you will, and do you have any favorite stories, success stories? You've been there since 2011 that, gosh, Milton, if I could just share this one story with you, or maybe there's a couple that you'd like to give our listeners an idea of who you are, but also if there's a family member of someone who would be a part of the program, I want them to hear these stories too, if they're not already a part of the program, so they can know a little bit about, there is hope, and there is something out there that can help the men and women they love.
Oh my gosh! So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to talk to you about now Chief Master Sergeant Brian Williams. Brian was wounded early in his career, and he suffered an above-the-knee amputation, injuries to his limb. And from the very beginning, he was a defender, and he was set. His goal was, you are not going to get rid of me. I'm going to continue to serve my country. I'm going to continue to serve the Air Force. And he was a staff sergeant when he was injured, and he used sports. I'm telling you, as part of his recovery, he figured out everything he could do versus what he couldn't do. And here he is today, and now he's rise to the highest level of an enlisted member. He's a Chief Master Sergeant that's serving. His wife, Emily, is his caregiver, and she stood by his side through the toughest times. And now he's inspired countless airmen to continue to serve, get through. What does a bad day really look like? He started training defenders in the Air Force as an amputee. Imagine that.
Wow.
And so, he's just leaving such a legacy to show what true resilience is, instead of, sometimes they give us videos to watch. But no, we have just countless real-life stories. We have a Chief Master Sergeant, Mike Nally, he was a Master Sergeant when he found out. They told him, he had 6 months to live. He had cancer. He wasn't going to make it. Let me tell you, he's defied everything every doctor ever had to say. He was the DOD Firefighter of the Year last year. He just sewed on the rank of Chief Master Sergeant. This will be his first year competing to make the Warrior Games team. He's a competitor. His wife, Joey, his family stood by his side, and now they're on the other side of that. So we use these stories to inspire those who continue to serve, but even our nation, right? Like what does true resilience look like? And I'm telling you, we have about 100 airmen that are going to be out here with 100 stories just like that.
And I'm guessing that do you share those stories on the Facebook page or on the website?
We do. We're always out there sharing those stories, and we'll be really highlighting them over this next 2 weeks.
Okay, and do me a favor again. Let's touch on what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks, so if our listeners want to be a part of it. And then there's the torch lighting, too. Is that, you talked about that, I think, a little bit, but did you want to talk about that?
Oh, my gosh. So the torch lighting is always part of the opening ceremony. And, the torch lighting is just kind of like the highlight to kick this thing off. And so every team picks a person who's going to carry that torch that highlights these incredible recovery journeys. And last year, when we were at Warrior Games at Disney, I saw a cauldron on the stage, and I took a picture of it. I'm like, oh, we need something like this. Because our cauldron is out at Nellis Air Force Base, and it's been beat up a little bit over the years. This is our 10th annual Air Force Trials, and we need a new cauldron. And so I took a picture, and I shared it with the team, and I was like, this is what we need. And one of our prior warriors that was enrolled in our program, he was a mortuary NCO when he served, and he had went through those things, right? He used to work for us. And he's out there working at Warrior's Heart. And so we have that connection. We have that relationship. So they reached out to Justin Jordan at Warrior's Heart, and we knew they did all kinds of these workshops and art therapies, kind of similar to what we do. And they decided to take on this project to build us a cauldron that will, I think it will withstand the program. This thing will last forever. It's replicated to our Air Force memorial that's in D.C., and that they made these most beautiful torches, one for the Air Force, one for the Marine Corps, that these people with these incredible stories will carry and really light that torch during the opening ceremony that signifies the start of the event. And then today I was even thinking, because it's sitting here by my desk, I'm like, you know what? We need to put this someplace where it's really visible throughout the entire event. So we're going to have a tent that serves as our kind of like a fest tent, or our archery competition, our restorative care services, and kind of a hub for the people. So I think we should post it up right there, outside of that tent throughout the event.
And the event that you're talking about is?
The Air Force and Marine Corps trials.
Okay, and what's going to happen at those? Who's participating?
We're going to be competing 11 different sports, adapting them to meet each person's ability. It's a competition event where we're going to select our teams that go forward to compete at the Department of Defense Warrior Games.
Our guest today on In the Loop, I'm Milton Glick. Our guest is Marsha Hoskins. She is the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program Support Branch Chief. We're talking about the program, the event that's coming up the next 2 weeks. And there's all kinds of different stuff that you guys do. We just have, a few minutes left. I want to make sure I cover everything. This one's awkward. Do you have? Well, this part isn't. But do you have the people that participate in the program? I'm guessing sometimes come back and help others.
Oh my gosh, yes. We call them mentors. We actually train those who are further along in their recovery journey. We call it the Recovering Airmen Mentorship Program, RAMP. Pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. And so we have 500 that have been trained who are now helping others through their recovery journeys. We're going to be training a group of them on Sunday, and they'll get actual experience to, perform in that mentor role. And then we have a couple that we're bringing back. We're going to be sharing their stories of resiliency. Both of them, one of them is a return to duty. He continues to serve. The other one is continuing to serve as a government civilian. And they have incredible stories, and they're going to be mentoring the new ones coming through their journey.
Do you have the people that participate? I've kind of asked this a little bit a different way before, but that say to you, man, I wish I'd gotten part of this program sooner. And then if you do, why do you think they don't? So,
we have really worked our processes within the Air Force to identify those that need our services early. We're always working on that. We just had a meeting about it this morning. But getting awareness out of our program and what we do is very important to us, because we know we can prove that if you get enrolled with us early, we can, help you with those goals, hopefully to get returned to duty or, be a solid help to you through the transition journey so that you don't go through it alone and that you don't find out about it too late. We know that there's gaps of people out there that we missed until these programs really stood up and got the foundation under it. But right now, we say just help us spread the awareness of what we do and make sure that people know that we're here to help.
Yeah, and that brings up another question, too. We always ask what our listeners can do to help you guys to be more successful. Are there things that they can do? Are there maybe volunteer opportunities? Is it just spreading the word? Did you want to get out and do public speaking? What would help?
Hey, if you would ever like to hear more about our program and ways you can help, reach out to me. Milton, you know how to contact me.
Yep, they can contact me too. I'll get you in touch with her.
Yes, we would love to come out and talk about what we do. We can bring these people to share their stories of resiliency, whether, no matter what group, if it's teenagers in high school, if it's corporate, if it's a service program, let us partner, let us grow that community partnership.
What kind of reaction do you get from the groups that you present to?
Oh, my gosh. It just brings a big smile to my face and gets me a little emotional because, like I told you, Milton, in life we all go through things, right? What are we going to do about it? How are we going to move forward? How are we going to help one another? How are we going to be there for one another? And we really just create that vulnerable space where, we focus on how do we take care of one another? How do we get through life's toughest journey?
There you go. All right. Guest today again. And by the way, I got another question that comes up too. Our guest today is Marsha Hoskins. She is the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program Support Branch Chief. We're talking about the congressionally mandated program. I wanted to touch on that with an interesting and unique mission. So, yeah, we can talk. If your group would like them to come out, call me here at the station. I will get you that information. And you talked a little bit about Warrior's Heart. Tell me the part they play with this.
So Warrior's Heart, they're the ones who said, yes, we'll take on this, this dream of a cauldron and we'll bring it to life for you. And so they have, the people out there, it could be the men and women who serve our country, firefighters, cops, military, who have faced struggles, and now Warrior's Heart is there helping them through their rehabilitative journey to get back into life. And so the men and women who are out there at Warrior's Heart who actually built the cauldron that's going to be part of our opening ceremony. And probably everyone, in the future, because I think this will last forever.
Marsha, we just have about a minute left, but do me a favor, just tell people where they can find out more information about the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program.
Yes, so we're you can find our website, woundedwarrior.af.mil. We're on Facebook, Air Force Wounded Warrior Program. We're on Instagram. We are very active out there in showcasing what our program does and what our mission and journey is. Very
cool. Did I miss anything?
Nope. Think you got it, Milton.
Thank you, Marsha. All right, we're going to say goodbye for today. I'm Milton Glick. You be sure to join us next week. And by the way, again, if you wanted to get in touch with the program, I'm Milton Glick. You call me here at the station, and we'll be happy to make that happen. But we will say goodbye for today. Join us next week as we keep you in the loop.
Thanks for joining us in the loop. We look forward to bringing you next week's show with Milton Glick.